Today I'm going to be doing a drawing demonstration for a winter landscape. This will be the simplest version, kindergarten, maybe first grade. This would be the version that you should be doing. The main thing that I want you to learn about when drawing a landscape is that the ground and the sky, when you're looking outside, or when you're looking at artwork or looking at pictures of the environment, there's no space between where the sky ends and the ground ends. So what I really want you to learn when drawing a landscape is that your sky, you're going to color it to the ground, and your ground you're going to cover to the sky. You're never going to have a big empty white space in the middle. So your first step is drawing a wavy line kind of around the middle of your paper, maybe a little bit lower. Your winter landscape has to have at least one house in it. So to draw a house with kindergarten, we're just going to do a very basic square and a triangle. So basic shapes are how you make drawings. For kindergarten and first grade, you at least have to have a door and a window on your house. Every house has to have at least one door and one window when I'm making art with kids. That's the rule. I'd also like you to add a chimney if you can. So if any of this is going too fast for you, you can go ahead and pause the video and draw what you want to draw, or erase if you mess up, and then just restart it to go along with me. So every landscape has to have a house. This would be a very boring landscape if that was all we would draw. So let's go ahead and use our imaginations, or maybe go through the story or go through the Grandma Moses artwork to think about things that we could add to our picture. So we know we want it to be a winter landscape. What would make it look like winter? Snow. So I'm going to do some tiny dots in the sky to represent snow. We know that good artists fill their space when they're working. So I only have one house in my winter landscape. I definitely need to add something to my artwork. What should I add? Should I add more houses? I could add more houses if I want. Maybe I could add a snowman to my winter landscape. Usually when I draw a snowman, I want to make sure that my circles get smaller and that I have 3 circles. And then I always check to make sure that I dress my snowman and he has all the right details. So he needs sticks for arms. He needs 3 big buttons. He needs a little scarf, so I always draw a straight little rectangle across his neck and a long skinny rectangle down here, and maybe some little lines on the end. I like to give my snowman eyes and mouth, and either a dot for a nose, or if you have a really big snowman, you could draw a carrot. I always like to give my snowman a hat or earmuffs. And we know how to draw a hat from our last lesson. This looks a little bit better, but I still have a big empty space down here, and I don't have anything here and here. So I'm going to teach you how to draw some trees. The most simple tree that you can make is a pine tree. So if you want to draw a little tiny square and then 3 triangles. 1, 2, 3. That's how we're going to learn how to make some really simple pine trees. Remember that your winter landscape, you could repeat any of these things as many times as you want. So you could have a lot of pine trees in your picture. You could have more snowmen. You could have more houses. But we just don't want big empty white spaces. I'm going to show you how to make another kind of tree. This would be like an oak tree with branches. So I like to draw the tree trunk, kind of a curved line going up and a curved line going up. And then from each curved line I draw 1, 2, 3 branches. 1, 2, 3 branches. Then I draw lots of little tiny branches to fill in my tree. then you can color on the trunk part of your tree. I still don't know what to add down here. So maybe I could add a pond, like a frozen pond that people would ice skate on in the winter. I'm going to draw some lines like this to make it look like there's a glare on our pond, and maybe some piles of snow around the edges, like they were shoveled off. For our winter landscape drawing, you're going to be able to choose how you add color to your picture, but I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how you can use markers to paint with. So here's an example that I was working on for kindergarten and first grade. And in my example, I added more snowmen, I added more trees, I added a barn and a path. What I'm going to show you is using a blue marker and water. So this is just plain water. There's nothing in my water. Plain water and a paintbrush. And then I'm going to use a magic marker. So I used Sharpie to draw my picture. We know that Sharpie, if it gets wet, it's going to stay exactly how we drew it. But if we use washable markers, so if it says washable on it, most of your Crayola markers are washable. That one doesn't say washable, but I think that a lot of the Crayola markers have little bubbles to show you that it's washable. So most markers that you probably have are washable. If you want to use some blue to outline things, or any other color, I'm just going to show you how I outlined my pond with blue. So I used blue to make it look snowy. I left the bottom of my picture white because I wanted it to look snowy. And then I just painted over my marker with water. So this is a technique that you can do if you don't have paint and you want it to look like paint. You can just draw with marker and then add water over top of it. It looks good if you outline and kind of just bring the color in the middle. So this whole picture that I'm showing you right now was painted with just markers and water. The most basic winter landscape should at least have a horizon line where your ground and your sky come together. You should either color your sky or color your ground if you want. You could use like gray or purple or light blue to do your snow, or you could leave your snow white. So that's an example of how to draw a winter landscape for kindergarten and first grade.